Linear inequalities may be solved using all the same steps that we use to solve a linear equation, with one modification along the way. We can begin to solve a linear inequality by using the same steps that we would use if instead of a greater than or equal to symbol in this inequality, we had an equal sign instead. To solve that equation, we would first probably clear denominators. We can clear denominators in this example by multiplying both sides of this equation by the denominator of the only fraction that we see here, which is 3. Multiplying both sides by 3, distributing that multiplication across the addition, simplifying the arithmetic that results, 3 times 2/3 giving us 2, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 4 is 12, and all of the fractions have now disappeared from this inequality. Next, because the variable x that we're trying to get by itself appears on both sides of this equation, we should use subtraction to get all of the x terms over to one side. I'll choose here to subtract 3x from both the right-hand side and the left-hand side to move all of our x's from the right to the left. Now the variable x appears only on one side of this equation. And to finish getting it by itself, we need only to reverse the order of operations. Adding or subtracting as appropriate, here adding 3 to both sides to get rid of the -3, which appears on the left, and then dividing by the -1, which is the coefficient of x, to get the x by itself. Now the x will be by itself on one side of the equation. On the other side of the equation, we get the number 9. And here is the only step in which solving an inequality differs from solving the corresponding equality. And that is that if we multiply or divide by a negative number along the way of solving an inequality, as we did here in our last step, dividing by -1, the sign of that inequality has to flip. In this case, from greater than or equal to less than or equal to instead. So solving a linear equality uses all the same steps as solving an equation. Clear denominators if that's helpful, if you have fractions to get rid of. Use subtraction to get all your variable terms onto one side. Reverse the order of operations to get the variable by itself. And the only modification that we need to remember along the way is that if we multiply or divide by a negative number at any point in the process, the sense of the inequality needs to flip from greater than to less than, or vice versa.